Okay, the first question is a club account. The Z Sport Club has a shop which selling sportwear. The following detail related to the shop for the year ended 29 February 2020. Opening inventory, closing inventory, purchases, markup. So when you heard the markup, okay, markup, what is the formula? It's taking the gross profit divided by the cost of sales. There's a markup formula. Okay, times 100%. This is general idea about markup. Okay, if the question say margin, then your formula will be gross profit over revenue times 100%. There's a in the mind you must have when you saw the word markup margin. Okay, now calculate the shop sales for the year ended. So this one they want to find the revenue actually. So using the basic income statement, the section for the trading section, trading section. Trading section means that just only revenue less the cost of sales. In this question, they only give us cost of sales actually. We have opening inventory and then purchases and then minus closing inventory. Okay, I put in the amount. This one we don't know, which is we need to find. The question asked to find. And they say that the markup is markup 40%. This 40% is over the cost of sales. This is the cost of sales. Over cost of sales means that cost of sales, the base is 100%. So we put in the cost of sales information, 900 purchases is 7,600. And then closing 970. So the formula for the cost of sales is opening plus purchases minus closing inventory. So we have this one pair. In this, using this one pair, we can find what is the amount because gross profit is taking revenue minus cost of sales. So here is 100%, here is 40%. So in order to get 40%, you must put here 140%. So with these two pair information, you can find your shop. So if they given you the format, you can use this presentation to find your answer for this. Or another way is you use the calculation method, then you put in cost of sales equal 900 plus 7,600 minus 970 equal to 7,530. This is the cost of sales. Then after that, you say the shop sales equal formula telling us that this is the amount that we need to find, and we know this is equal to 140%. Using the mathematical concept, we take 7,530 divide by 100% and then times 140%. So we will get the amount. Let me calculate. Give me a minute, I calculate in here. So take this, divide by this, times 100%. So we get this one, 1054. Okay, so this is the amount that we get, 10542. This is a shop sales amount. Okay, so this one you must show how much your cost of sales because your base is a cost of sales. So you must calculate up to show in order to get the format. You must show this is a cost of sales amount 7,530. After that, up to you. You want to use this method to calculate it, or using the calculation method, you show this one. How you get the 10540. So that is for the A answer. Next is that all the shop sales and purchases are, so the word they're putting in here, they say that all the shop sales and purchases are for cash. That means they don't have the credit. Everything buy and sell using the cash. All the club receipts are paid into the bank and all payment made by the check. That means this amount, receipt and payment all go through the bank account. Okay, next. On 1st March 2019, the club bank balance was overdrawn. Overdrawn means overdraft. Bank overdraft is the balance brought down in the credit side, liability. In addition to the shop sales and purchases, the following receipt and payment were made during the year ended 29 February 2020. Subscription receipt, this is an income. Competition fee received, this is also the income. So that means when you receive income, that means debit, your receipt and payment account should be in the debit side. Payment for competition price, that means the moment payment, that means is in the credit side. Purchase of fitting, that means you have to pay, it's also in the credit side. Rent and insurance, you have to pay also. This one also must be in the credit side. Wages also must be in the credit side because you have to pay the worker. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, there are, prepare the receipt and payment account for Z Sport Club for the year ended 29 February 2020. Balance the account and bring down the balance on 1st March. So I just copy up this one to here so that easier to do the count. Okay. The first sentence, they say on 1st March 2000 has overdrawn. So this is the one that we need to fill in first. Overdrawn means it's a liability. So liability is in the credit side. March 1st, balance brought down. 845. Next, as I say, when you saw the word receipt, that means it's in the debit side. 2020, because they say that financial year ended is February 2009. February to 29, okay? So this is the last day. Everything except this one balance brought down is the first day. The rest all in the last day recording. So in the debit or credit also, payment receipt all last day. Receipt amount in the debit side. So you can put subscription. No need to write receipt, just put subscription. Competition fee. Because we understood when we come to the debit is a receipt. 11400 and then 915. Payment for competition price 39. That means we have to pay in here, which is competition price. Okay, next. Purchase of fitting. We just put fitting, non-current asset. Rent and insurance. Wages of shop assistant. So we put the amount first, 390, and then 4,000, and then 4575, and 2,000. Okay. Don't forget in the sentence they say all shop sales and purchase are for cash. It means that the amount that we calculated, 10542, is in the income. That means it's an income, is we receive money. So we put into the debit side. Whereas purchases, this amount in the credit side. Why in here the question saying that the club payment. First, they say that all the club receipts are paid into the bank, and all payments are made by check. But here they put cash. Here they say bank, because receipt and payment account is a cash and the bank. So both also put in together. It's just like a cash book lah. Basically, this one is just like a cash book. Debit receive, credit payout. So here we have to put in the sales amount, which is the amount is 10542. And your purchases, the purchases amount, which is given by the question, 7,600. So all the amount we recorded based on the information already. Now we need to check debit more or credit more. So in this question, we have debit more than the credit. So we should have the balance carried down in the credit side, balance brought down in the debit side. So take this minus 19410. So this is the amount that we're going to bring it to here. 2020 March 1st balance brought down. Okay, so that is for the receipt and payment account. Next, let's see what else they asked for. Okay, the club bank statement at 29 February 2020 show a positive balance. When this is show a positive balance, because this is the bank statement. When this is show positive balance, this is referred to the bank statement. Okay. Balance at 29 February 2020. This one is credit balance, because bank statement is opposite to the bank account. When they say positive balance, means it's credit balance, not the debit balance. So debit balance is a negative balance for the bank statement. So this is a difference compared with the cash book or the bank account. Next, on comparing the bank statement with the cash book. So the cash book, how much is our cash book amount? We already calculated, which is from here. 3447, also positive balance because it's in the debit side. 3447. So this is also positive balance, but this positive balance is in the debit. It's an opposite difference. Okay. Now next is question. Competition fee 260 has not been recorded by the bank. So this word has not recorded by the bank. Competition fee 260. This is the amount. This one. Let's see. In our this amount. Competition fee is an income. Out of this one, out of this amount, they have 260. 260 has not been recorded by the bank. This is, we call, in the bank reconciliation, we call uncredited amount. So take note, this is uncredited amount. Next, a check paid for 25 for competition price has been charged twice by the bank. This is the error by the bank. Okay, next. The payment for fitting 4,000 was made on 27 February and has not been recorded on the bank statement. This one we call unpresented check. Okay. So these three information, we clear with it. These three information show us that we must adjust in the bank reconciliation statement. And the question says, prepare the bank reconciliation But they didn't tell us must start from the bank statement or the cash book. So you have the two options. So I start with the cash book first. Okay. Here, ZED Sport Club Bank Reconciliation Statement at 29 February 2002. Okay. I start with the cash book. Balance as per cash book, which is amount, this amount, 3447. Because this is a positive, so I don't need to put debit. Or you want to put debit beside, that's fine also. When we see positive number, that means it's a debit balance for the cash book. The formula, take note the formula. Add unpresented check. So in here, this is an unpresented check. So what is the item? Write down what is the item that meant for. Payment for fitting. So you can see put fitting. Just put some description to show it. And because this is only one amount, so we put in 4,000. Put into the second column. If you have two amount, then you show the subtotal in here, the detail in here. So we get this plus this. Okay, the next item, less uncredited amount. Later I will explain how we see the item. Okay, this uncredited amount is the competition fee has not been recorded by the bank. So here we put competition fee 260. So take this, you minus this one. So you get this amount. Not yet finished, still got one more error by the bank. So a check paid for 25 for competition price has been charged twice. So this one, about the formula, when come to the bank error, can be, the situation can be either add or less, bank error. But for this question, competition price recorded charge twice. Okay. For this one amount, 25, you should add or should minus. Now I will explain here. Balance as bank statement. When you want to see whether you should add or minus from the account, from the bank statement record, you stand from the bank statement point of view. The question saying that bank statement recorded twice. It means that stand from the bank statement, logically, it should be lesser than the cash book money because deducted twice. So in this case, we have to minus. Less bank error, competition price charged twice, minus 25. Okay, now second thing is that you notice this amount and this amount are the same. So that means basically your reconciliation should be correct. Okay, in case in the exam, you're not sure the item to put in between for these three. You're not sure what is the item you should put. Okay, you maybe put wrongly. This one go to here, this one go to here, or any mistake in between. But come to the final part, this bank reconciliation statement, balance as per bank statement. If the question given the number itself in the question, they say bank statement, positive balance 7162, and you didn't, let's say example, this one, make mistake in here. Instead of minus, I thought that should be, instead of minus, I thought should be plus. So I accidentally, I go and plus it. Let's assume I go and plus, I plus. This amount will be different with this. In this situation, you are not sure which one that you are making mistake. Ignore this amount. Take the bank statement in the question, put into here, regardless what you have in between. Because this one automatically you'll get 1 mark. So don't waste the mark. Take the bank statement amount, put into here. So that is an area that you need to take notes when come to the bank reconciliation statement. Okay. And why this one add, this one less? Because when we prepare the bank reconciliation, we start from the cash book. Actually, we are standing from the bank statement point of view to look into these 3 transactions. For example, balance as per cash book, add unpresented check. Why we add unpresented check? Because stand from the bank statement point of view, bank have not giving out the money. So bank should have more money. When you bank statement have more money, we should increase the amount for the bank. Next is that uncredited amount. Uncredited amount means that our bank statement has not put in the money yet. That means to the bank, to the banker, they assume this money is not received yet. So when the money not received from the banker point of view, we should less it in order to get back the bank statement amount. So that's why this is like a formula. When you start with the cash book, add unpresented check, less uncredited amount. For this bank error can be add and minus depending on the question. Okay. If you prefer to start with the bank statement, okay, now the other way you will get it. Let me put in this one is from the using banks, because you have two ways to present your answer. If you want to start from the bank statement, okay, this amount 7,162. In this situation, you should add. It's just like using the mathematic way to do the question, uncredited amount. So this competition fee should be add, because this is sent from the cash book point of view. You do this recording. Okay. If you don't want to plus minus so many, you just can be like this also. Okay, can just leave it like this. After that, one shot minus and plus, less unpresented check. So unpresented check, we have 15, which is this amount is 4,000. Okay, and then this one, because this question is a less, so mathematic concept should be add lah. So you can put in here, add bank error, which is 25. Okay, last balance as per cash book. So we take this plus, less, and plus. So we get back the same as per cash book. Okay, so in the exam is take note only thing for bank statement, bank reconciliation statement. Always, if the information given, try take back the amount. Don't waste the mark. Because in between here, you may make mistake, but just don't take the risk to waste this. Okay, so this is 2 ways that you can see, because this one is stand from the cash book point of view to do the adjustment. From the bank statement start and do adjustment, but stand from the cash book point of view to look into the transaction. Whereas if here we start from the cash book, actually we stand from the bank statement point of view to look into the transaction. So that is about the bank reconciliation statement. Must be clear with the transaction, what is the information given, whether it's unpresented check, uncredited amount, or the bank error. Okay, let's continue. State 3 difference between a receipt and payment account and income and expenditure account. Because this question is club account. So they use the term in the club, which is receipt and payment, income and expenditure. Basically, receipt and payment account It's just like our cash book. In the other businesses, income and expenditure account is actually our normal business we call income statement. So you try to remember what is the feature of the cash book, what is the feature of the income statement. So they ask for the differences. We can use back the cash book and the income statement point to answer for it. So receipt and payment account, income and expenditure account. Okay. Let me put into here. Okay, number one, as I say, this one is just like a cash book. So what is the cash book purpose? Cash book is to receive money and pay out. Okay, pay out the money, whether it's in the cash or in the, whether this one is cash or check. Okay. Income as expenditure is only for the income statement. We talk about the income, revenue, income, expenses, cost of sales. But because this is a service account, club is providing the service. So you don't go, because in the income statement, you have 4 sections. Income, even though they are the same actually, income statement, you have 4 sections: revenue, cost of sales, other income, and expenses. But in the income and expenditure, you cannot talk about cost of sales because this is a service. For this 4 sections, normally we have 4 sections because we assume most of the time exam is a trading business. But income statement, another business we call service business. We only have revenue, which is a main source of the income, and then other income, or sometimes we group into 2, which is we just put income section. There's 2 sections only, they put expenses. So this is provide the service business. So club actually is providing the service. So you don't go and talk that in here cost of sales. Don't mention cost of sales. So you see that record income and expenses. Don't talk about this cost of sales. There is a differences between service account and the trade and the trading business. Second difference, when come to the receipt and payment or cash book, we ignore what is it called? The accounting adjustment. We take whatever the actual money that we receive. So we can say ignore the matching concept for recording. But when we do the income and expenditure or income statement, we have to use account record as record by using matching concept, where the account should adjust based on expenses incurred rather than expenses paid. So that is trying to emphasize what is the differences between this receipt or the cash book compared with the income and expenditure. So this one based on the actual receipt. So you want to add one more? Based on actual receipt. Actual receipt and paid. Okay, so this is for the number 2. Okay, number 3. Okay, what else that we can think about for the okay? What else that we can think of? Included capital expenditure and capital receipt. Okay, this is what means that I put in here second. Included the purchase of non-current asset or sales of non-current asset. So there is one of the point you can talk about. When I come to the income and expenditure, only record revenue, receipt, and revenue expenditure. Okay. For non-current asset, only take depreciation for the year as expenditure. Okay, so there is some idea about the receipt and income and expenditure, or sometimes this one also can be the cash book. The point can be used for the same thing if the question come up in other businesses, which is they ask for the difference between cash book and the income statement. This is the same point can be used. So this is for the first question. Okay. Okay, Amy provide the following balance from his book. So this is the list, the list from the question and what they asked to do. Okay, they asked to prepare Amy trial balance at 31st March 2020. Show the difference in the trial balance total as, I mean, this is related to the correction of error. The moment we saw the suspend account. So we prepare the trial balance first. So the basic rule, okay, we go through the basic rule first before we do the exercise. Yeah. Okay, so the basic rule for the trial balance rule. Debit, you have asset, expenses, and then drawing. If you have any sales return, so you also in the debit side. There's some general idea about the trial balance. In the credit, you have liability, capital, and what else? Purchases, return, and then provision account. So this is general idea about the trial balance rule. So now based on this information, we have to know that for all these accounts belong to which section. So So we list down first, capital, drawing, equipment, and then provision for depreciation of equipment, and then inventory at 1st April 2019, and then trade receivable, bank overdraft, trade payable, sales purchases, and then purchases return. Later I will list out all the section belong to so that easier for you. Okay, carriage inward, and then discount received, commission receivable, rent and insurance, office expenses. Okay, I put in as a remark, this is not in the question needed, just for you to refer in case you want to understand more. In order to decide what section to be. Okay. Capital is under capital section. We are talking about the section. Here is talking about the account section, so that you got the better idea. Capital is under capital section. Drawing is actually under capital section. Equipment is a non-current asset. And then provision is also non-current asset. Inventory, current asset. And in the trial balance, take notes that inventory must be the opening inventory only. I just put in here, only opening inventory. Okay, closing inventory in the additional information. It will not appear in the won't appear in trial balance. So these are some notes that you can refer. Okay, let me share it. Okay, so take notes about the inventory in case they have two inventory amount to show. Trade receivable, current asset. Bank is an asset, current asset. If they put bank overdraft, that means this is a current liability. Okay, next, trade payable is a current liability. Sales is under the revenue section. Purchases under cost of sales. Purchases return is reduce the purchases, so under cost of sales section. Carriage inward. Okay, what is the difference between carriage inward and carriage outward? Okay, carriage inward. This one is under cost of sales. Okay, cost of sales. Okay, carriage outward under expenses. Both also carriage cost actually is a transportation cost. Both also transportation costs, but one is under cost of sales, one is under expenses, because this is the transportation costs incurred to bring in the goods into business. That's why it's part of purchase cost. That's the reason why it's sitting under cost of sales, because it's part of the purchase cost. Whereas carriage outward is expenses. Carriage outward is the transportation cost incurred to deliver goods to customer. So this is the cost incurred sent to customer. We treat it as a part of the expenses. So take notes about the carriage inward, carriage outwards. Because sometimes the question will also ask you to define these two terms. What is the difference for these two terms? Okay, now next, discount received, the word received behind indicate to you is an income. So this one is a cost of sales also. Okay, discount received, whatever commission received, so long it got the receive at the backward, this is other income. Under the section other income. Commission received also receivable also under the other income section. Next is rent and insurance under expenses, which is you need to pay every year. Office expenses, behind got expenses, understood is an expenses. So once we clear with all the section, then easier for us to fill in the number, because the basic rule is here telling us. So capital is 10369. So in the exams, as usual, in case that you feel difficulty, so many lines, try to draw and use your pencil, draw the every few line to see that the correct amount, because sometimes it's a careless mistake that we make. We saw the wrong amount put into it. It's not that we don't know. Okay, next, drawing. Drawing, even though it's capital, but it's reduced the capital amount, so it's in the debit side. Equipment, 15,500. Provision, 3100. Inventory, 1765. Okay, trade receivable, 1290, because all defined already, easier for us. Next, bank overdraft, 475. And then trade payable, 1600. Sales is revenue, credit. Next is that purchases, here, 18330. Purchases written to reduce the purchases amount is opposite. So 910. Carriage inward is part of the purchase cost. That means it's in the debit side. Discount received is an income. So credit. Commission receivable is also income account. Credit. Rent received, rent and insurance office is expenses. Debit. Okay. The question is very clear. Tell us that they want sure got this account got the imbalance. That's why they ask us to prepare the suspend account here. So the differences put into the suspend, but we don't know whether debit or credit. We just add the subtotal first. Okay. So credit more than the debit. In this case, we take credit minus 49650. So this is our balancing figure, suspend account. So in case you make a missing any line, any item mistake, so automatically this suspend account will be wrong already. But the one is just maybe cost you 1 mark. Okay, that don't need to worry that. Okay, just try your best to put in the correct position, debit and credit. Now let's move on. Okay, here they have Amy later discovers several error has been made in the accounting record. So complete the table to show the error required to correct each error. That means we have to put through adjustment to make all this correction. For example, no entry has been made for the cash sales. So this is an omission. So we have to debit cash, credit the sales. So this one, as we see, the double entry need to be made. So this first one is already done. So I will prepare the number 2. Office expenses 240 has been credited to the wages account. The thing is that they are not there. As office expenses by right should be debit. But now they make a mistake, go and credit. Somehow credit to the wrong account. So no debit entry has been made. They mean office expenses omitted. So we need to put back office expenses. Office expenses. So how much the office expenses amount? 240. But at the same time, we have to reverse the wrong account, which is the wages. So wages wrongly credited, that means we have to reverse out. We put into the debit side. Now both also debit. In this case, one side error. So suspend account coming in. Because suspend take 2 amount, because these 2 can add up together, put in total 480. Okay, next is that the purchases journal total for March was 2165. This amount was incorrectly recorded in the purchases account. So first of all, need to see whether over or under. It was incorrectly recorded in the purchases account as 2,600. That means purchases account overstated. Purchases account should be in the debit side. Now debit over. In this case, we have to credit out the amount. What is the amount that we need to credit out? This account should put in here because the format given is this way. So need to take note, should be put into here suspend because here is a different way. So in this case, purchases should be in the credit side. Let me put up first. Okay. So purchases account overstated, we have to credit it. So we take 2651 minus 2565. So 486. Same thing, this is a one side error because the other side didn't mention anything. So this one side must use suspend account to do the correction. Okay, the others, number 3. An insurance payment 375 has been correctly recorded in the cash book, but no other entry has been made. That means that insurance account omitted. Cash book correct, so you don't go and touch the cash book because cash book is correct. That means credit side is correct, debit side is omitted. So insurance is expenses is in the debit side. Rent and insurance. Why I write rent and insurance? Because in the account on top, the account on top showing that here they put rent and insurance. So I record in the rent and insurance account. 375. But because it's a one side, the cash book is correct, don't touch cash book, touch the suspend account. 375. Next, one more item. The purchase of equipment 800 was correctly recorded in the cash book but debited to the office expenses. This is an error of principle. Equipment is a non-current asset. Office expenses is expenses. So the wrong section. This is a wrong class of the account. So error of principle, we put back the equipment, debit equipment, the amount 800, and we reverse the wrong account, which is the office expenses. The amount 800. So all the adjustment we already done. Okay, so each they give you 1 mark. for the item that you recorded debit and credit. Okay, now let's continue. Here they ask to prepare the suspend account. Start with the difference on the trial balance. So what is the difference on the trial balance? So let's see. Okay. Go up to the question, see what is the trial balance. Yeah, I put in here so that easier for me to do the recording. Let's see the trial balance, how much the differences. Okay, suspend is 369 in the debit side. So we put into the debit side 369. And here, because the financial year is 2020, okay, we put in based on the last day of the transaction that we made. So 2000, let me see what is the financial year. Okay. So 31st March 2020. Okay, we put March 31st. Okay, balance brought down. This is the beginning, 369. Okay, the next thing, debit and credit, because we already done this account. If you saw the suspend, you put it in. This one in the credit side, so you put into the credit side. The date is all the last date. These two amounts will be in the credits because double entry concept. So here credit, put into the credit, but the detail, we write the opposite account. Same thing here, suspend is in the debit. Maybe we have to record in the debit here. And the detail, we take this one, opposite account, 486. The next one, suspend in the credit. So here, credit, let me go to the credit, put in the amount. 375. So you notice that this side credit, you put credit. This side debit, you put debit. And here is credit again, so credit. So now we calculate how much the differences. If still got differences, that means something wrong with the account. If no differences, that means the account considered correct already. Okay, now two account, debit and credit are the same. That means this account should be settled. That means the account most likely have correct. In case that when you do the calculation, you put wrong side, and you found that the debit and credit total cannot be balanced. Okay, don't panic first. You check whether your next section, whether they talk anything about the suspend account. If the question say talking about suspend account, that means they could be the differences. There is an error still not found yet. If they didn't mention, they don't have, like example, this question, the end question already 20 mark. Means that this question unlikely have the differences between debit and credit. If we found that there is a debit differences with the credit, that means we make a mistake in this adjustment, cause the balance had the differences. Because most of the time, suspend account in the exam, they seldom give you the differences after you put in all the adjustment. The totals debit credit should be the same. But if they happen sometime in the exam question, they show the differences. But when they show the differences, normally in the question, they still continue ask something. Behind, they still got question to ask you. That is the test. If this question, the behind still got question saying that what you have seen in the suspend account, what is the mean or what is the meaning of the differences? Then in this case, they're trying to give you the hints that your suspend account still got balances. But this question, because they didn't talk anything up, the last part is a suspend account already. So unlikely your this question have the differences. You must get debit and credit must be the same amount. There is something that be careful with the correction of error under suspend account topic. So by right, both must be the same. In case You didn't get the same, then be careful with your adjustment in here already. You have to double check whether you got debit credit wrongly put in or not. So this is for the second question that I share. Okay, now next is the moment you saw manufacturing account, how you know it? Because normally they will say manufacturing business produce the product. If not, also you can see raw material, finished good. This type of question normally is manufacturing account. She provide the following information for the year ended 30th April 2020. Revenue, purchases of raw material, purchases of finished good, wages of the factory operative, royalty paid to the inventor of the, this is royalty fee in the direct cost. The word given in here. This is a direct cost because this one based on how many units you produce, you have to pay the inventor the cost. Factory general expenses, factory fuels and power, rent and insurance, factory machinery at cost, provision for factory machinery, inventory. We have 3 types of the inventory. This is beginning of the year. Raw material, work in progress, finished good. Okay, see what are the adjustments they ask for. We do the adjustment calculation. Factory machinery is depreciated at 20%. So number one is calculating depreciation of factory machinery. And they've given us that reducing balance method. Think about formula first, don't think about calculation. Okay, in the exam, don't need to write the formula. Just for the class purpose, I show the formula. Reducing balance is taking the cost minus provision for depreciation times the percentage. So here, amount, what we get for the factory cost, 60,000. So 60,000 minus the provision, 21,600. Okay, and then times how many percent? 20%. So we get, let me count this, 60,000 minus 21 times, so the amount is 38400 times the 20%, 7680. So 7680. So in the exam, you can do your working in the beside the question. For example, you want to calculate this amount out first. So in here, you write down 660,000 minus 21600, and then times 20%. Straight away, use the calculator. Write it somewhere in the space that you have to show your working first, so that you will know that later on you need to use the number. Okay, the next one. Rent and insurance to be split equally between the factory. That means number 2 information, rent and insurance. The total amount in the trial balance is 28,000. This is split equally factory and office. Factory means that manufacturing account. The amount split equally means 28,000 divided by 2. So you get 14,000. Okay. The next one, office, the word means that income statement. Okay. So income statement is 28,000 divided 2 equal 14,000. Okay, so this is the amount that we get. We calculated number 3. The annual salary of factory supervisor is 28,500. So let's see the salary. Where is the salary? Okay, wages operative. No, they didn't say. Here, that means this all you don't have salary. They mean this one is a accrued amount. Okay, factory supervisor salary. Okay, so we have the amount. How much shall we? Let's see. Salary. How much shall it? 28,500. Okay, this amount sitting in the manufacturing account under what section? Under the factory overhead section. So take notes about it. Next is that closing inventory. Okay, this is a closing inventory that later we will use it. Okay, they asked to prepare the manufacturing account. So let's we put up to here. Okay, manufacturing account, basically you have direct cost, which is the direct cost, prime cost. I write down prime cost first, prime cost. Then after that, you have the factory overhead. There is a 2 key section. After that, you have the work in progress. That is the last section. Then you get your production cost, or sometimes cost of production. So either way can be. Now, what is the prime cost that we have? Prime cost, you don't talk about the question first, we talk about the format first. Prime cost, you have the raw material. Okay, you have the direct wages or direct labor. I put direct labor. Okay, another is a direct expenses. But in your syllabus, normally direct expenses refer to your royalty fee, which is this question you have royalty fee. So this is the 3 items that we have. So now we put in one by one. Okay. Raw material is talking about the purchase of the raw material. But the question beginning here, we have the amount. Inventory at 1st May. That means we have to put in the inventory at 1st May 2019. Plus the purchases during the year. Okay. If you have any direct costs incurred for the purchases, you also have to add in. But this question, quite straightforward. They don't have much thing. The purchase of raw material. After that, no more other related to the direct cost. So I mean, basically, it's only one purchases. And then after that, minus inventory at what year? At 30th April 2020, which is 3,000. So this one is 3,000. And this one is referred to the raw material. So this one, actually, we are calculating consume of, or we put raw material consume. Okay, I'll put the other in the back. Consume. Okay, raw material consume. So this is one of the item you need to calculate. So inventory beginning 3120. Purchases of the raw material 46500. So we take opening plus purchases minus, we get the raw material consumed. So this is number 1. Okay. Next is the second one, direct labor. Which one is the direct labor here? Wages of factory operative. So this wages operative is a direct labor. So you don't want to leave, you want to leave this one, okay. If you don't want, then you just directly put in the wages of, okay, wages of factory operative. So there is the direct cost. So this is under the direct labor section. Because it's only one item, no adjustment, anything. So we just straight away take the amount, 38250. Double see whether correct. Okay, the line is correct. Okay. So this is the direct labor section. The last one, direct expenses in here, which is the royalty fee. Okay, royalty fee is, okay, royalty fee amount to how much? 7690. So these three direct costs we add, and don't forget in your this amount, put in prime cost. This term must be there. Must put in prime cost total how much. Okay, that is about the format for the manufacturing account. Now the next is we want to calculate the factory overhead. So how many items is considered overhead? Those so long as you saw the word factory, most likely is related to factory overhead. For example, here we have factory general. Okay, we put in factory general expenses. Next is factory fuels and power. Okay. And then rent and insurance. Okay. Any more? Let's see. Still got the check. Okay, factory machinery provision. Okay, provision. The moment you saw factory machinery, that means it's a depreciation. Depreciation of factory machinery related to the factory. Okay, next is what else that we have? Let's see. Okay, rent and rate. This one we calculated. Later we need to put. Okay, one more item in here. Factory supervisor salary. So this one had to put in. No more, no others. Okay, so now we can put in the amount. Before we can put in the amount, take notes that it's any adjustment. Okay, because this one, let me adjust it. Okay. So factory general expenses. Okay, let me underline. Too many lines is make me confused. I couldn't see properly. Okay, let me see properly. First are the amount. Okay. Factory general expenses is 4,005, no adjustment. Then factory fuels and power also they didn't mention anything, so we just straight away take the amount. But general as rent and insurance, they mentioned in the number 2 information. They say that split into half. So in this case, you show your working. Show the working, how you get the number. 28,000 divided by 2. So you get this amount, 14,000. Show the working beside your detail. And same thing, the depreciation. Okay, show your working, how you get the number. So I take this amount. Show the working, how you get the amount in here, 7680. Okay, even though we calculated already in here. Then factory supervisor, 28500. So we add the factory overhead. We get 60,005. So take this plus, not minus. Take note, this is a plus because this is the cost. These all are the cost to factory. So you have to plus. The cost we split into prime cost and factory overhead costs. We now come to the work in progress. Okay, work in progress in here is referred to the inventory work in progress. For example, here, the beginning year. So beginning inventory and then end year. Okay, we want to put minus also can, if we here. Okay, opening we plus. So the amount 5400 and closing 5590 we minus. So we take opening minus closing. And now you notice that here I get negative. In exam, don't put negative in front. Put bracket 190. This bracket indicate is a minus. Is a minus that you need to deduct. There is a important thing that in the account, the statement format, you don't put negative in front because max is a negative, but account put bracket. So we take this amount minus 1190. So we get this 152,375, which is this one is considered our production cost or cost of production. So far, okay. So for this is the area for in terms of the section that for the manufacturing account. Start with the prime cost. This everything is a prime cost. But in order to get the prime cost, you must calculate the raw material consumed first. Raw material we refer to the inventory plus purchases minus closing inventory. If any other related to purchase, you also have to add in. For example, carriage inward. Okay, if you have purchases written related to raw material, also have to minus. So now let's move on to the next. Okay, the question B, they asked to prepare the income statement. Trading section. What is the trading section? Trading section means that you just only calculate up to the, present your account up to the gross profits. After that, expenses and other don't need to do. That is called trading section. So we just put in the amount first. Let's see. Start with the revenue and then less cost of sales. Okay, this is a two section. Revenue, one section. Cost of sales, one section. So what is the revenue that we have in this question? We go to the, see the information. Revenue is 254. So 258. This one is, they put revenue, so we just take the 254,000. Okay. So now next is that the cost of sales. Cost of sales, be careful, manufacturing account. Start with the opening inventory. Okay, let me take this amount. This inventory is referred to the finished goods. It's not raw material, it's not work in progress, it's a finished good. So what is our finished good opening inventory? This one, 8220. Next is In the exam, sometimes they got put in the purchase. This question, they say, purchase of finished good. It means that this is one of the cost of sales we have to take in. So here, we put in purchase of finished goods. And the amount is 5900. Okay. So take notes about this finished good. Next is that this cost that you are calculated, this amount, cost of production, 152375. The whole thing will go to the cost of sales. So cost of production sitting in here. And the amount is 152375. This is one of the part important under the cost of sales. Okay. See any more other item related? Okay. The last one, finished good, 7885. So we take this one is closing inventory 7885. Finished good. We take the total for these three first, subtotal first. If you don't want to put subtotal, also fine. Let me check the amount. Okay, minus this inventory. So take this minus this. So we get the cost of sales net is 211710. And last, gross profit, because we stop in here already. Revenue minus cost of sales, that's all. Because the question say they want trading section. Trading section, you do up to the gross profit. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, complete the table by place a tick on the indicate whether each of the following action will increase or decrease the gross profit margin. So first of all, what is a gross margin? Gross margin means gross profit margin. The formula is taking gross profit divide revenue times 100%. So that is formula. So using the mathematical concept, GP margin equal to the gross profit over revenue. In order to increase this one, this is mathematical concept to look into the formula. Gross profit margin increase, your GP margin must be increased. Your revenue, this one, decrease. Sounds like that. But because this revenue is part of this gross profit, your gross profit is taking revenue minus cost of sales. So in this case, this revenue cannot be reduced. You must increase the revenue. What is to be decreased? Cost of sales to be decreased. The component in the cost of sales have to decrease. Revenue had to increase. Then only gross profit margin can increase. Okay, now look into this question. Increase wages of factory supervisor. So we talk about this one first. Number one. Wages supervisor increase. Where is the section of the supervisor? Factory overhead. Factory overhead is part of the cost of production. Okay. Cost of production is part of the cost of sales. So when these wages increase, cost of sales will increase. Okay, here factory overhead increase, cost of production increase, cost of sales increase. When cost of sales increase, gross profit decrease. There is the impact of the information given. So for this one, increase wages factory supervisor, decrease in the gross profit margin. So your this one answer will be decrease gross margin using the formula indicate here. Next is that reduce trade discount allowed to customer. So, let me copy this. Okay. Trade discount to encourage buy more or bulk purchases. So when trade discount reduce, trade discount allowed to customer reduce. Sales, selling price, selling price increase. Okay, trade discount is directly deduct from the selling price. Selling price will increase when the trade discount reduce, selling price increase. Selling price increase, revenue increase. When revenue increase, gross profit increase. Gross profit increase, increase gross margin. So there is the effect for the C. These two effects. Okay, here increase gross profit margin. This one decrease gross profit margin. Okay, next, let's see what else the question. Okay, Chipo is considering converting her sole trader business into the limited company because she thinks that it will easier for her to obtain finance for future expansion. Advise Chipo whether or not she should convert her business to a limited company in order to obtain finance, justified by providing advantage and disadvantage. See how many marks they give us? 4 marks. So 4 marks, then you talk about the sole trader. One advantage. What is the advantage as a sole trader? What is the disadvantage of a sole trader? Here, one give you 2 marks. Next is that limited company. What is the advantage? What is the disadvantage? But as I say, when you talk about advice, conclusion must be there. Conclusion. What is your recommendation or what is your conclusion? What you want to recommend? Your recommendation. Okay, now we think about the advantage as this sole trader first. The advantage as a sole trader, okay, is all profit belong to the owner, and also the owner can make faster decision. Okay, And if you want to talk about the business, if you newly set up, that means easier to set up. But because this business is already ongoing, so you don't talk about new, easier to set up. Disadvantage of the sole trader is because workload increase, because everything you need to do yourself. You need to decide by yourself. Okay. And then also the key for the sole trader, the most important for the disadvantage is unlimited liability. There is a key thing. The why most of the business, when they start to grow, okay, they starting from the sole trader, when the business start to grow, they tend to convert into the limited company because unlimited liability problem in the sole trader. So now come to the limited company. Limited company advantage is that you can get more fund or money because can sell the share to others. Okay, to others. Okay, other than that is when you come to want to get the money, borrow money from the bank, easier to get finance from the bank because capital is more than sole trader. That is the one of the important of the company, why people want to convert into the company, because can get more money, and compare to get the loan, to get the finance is easier. Okay, other than that, what else that about the limited company? Okay, about the share, can sell the share, can what else the thing, can easier get financing. I think okay, here can hire expertise or hire professional people to run the business because you have more money to, because business you to have more capital. Okay, this is very subjective. Sole trader also can be using, can do that, but logical limited company have more money. Okay, now next disadvantage. Disadvantage is that when you incorporate the limited company, the cost of incorporation of limited company is high, more expensive, because you need to have the statutory audit, statutory tax submission, all this all need the cost. So cost in running is more. If you don't want to say cost of incorporation of, you can say that cost to run limited company is higher than sole trader. So this is a disadvantage that we have. And then come to the sole trader, one of the thing, you everything controlled by yourself. But when you incorporate the company, limited company, the owner, this is what the owner always worry. The owner may lose control of the company. Means that other people have more share than you. You are not the main shareholder. You will lose the control of the company. Okay, come to conclusion. Later we see what we're going to say about conclusion. I need to go back to the question to see what are the information we have. Okay. For the You see the profit, okay, gross profit, we get 42,000. We don't know what is the profit for the year. And cost of production is 152. And then see what else the information that we can help us to explain. Okay, there's not much information. Okay. Only thing can here we have the quantitative number, the profit 42,000. Okay. So the bad thing if we incorporate the company, the disadvantage, the owner, the profit. Okay. Profit has to be shared. Have to be shared with others. Shareholder. So that is from the information that we can get. Okay, now answer back this question. So we say that Chipo is considering convert her sole trader. So whether she should, okay, so you can say that the advantages of convert sole trader to limited company is Chipo can get more fund due to the share can be sold to others. That is the first sentence, the advantage that we make. Okay, the next is, what else the advantage that we can say? Chipo has limited liability because Chipo has limited liability because Chipo has limited liability because the company now in limited liability where he does not need to worry that his personal belonging to take away due to debt. This one is trying to tell you that when you have unlimited liability, the problem of unlimited liability is the owner personal belong can be taken to pay off all the debt when the business owed to outsider. So that is about the unlimited liability. Okay, next. So now when he formed this company, he don't need to worry. His personal belonging will be taken away due to the debt already. Okay, next, move on. What else that we have? 2 points. I already mentioned 2 points. The first point, we can get more fund. Okay, this is the first point they're talking about. Second point, unlimited liability. So he don't need to worry. So this is the 2 points is to support advantage already. Now, next disadvantage. However, he Let me think the disadvantage. Let me see what is the point here. He may lose control of the company if he is not the if he is not holding the most share of the company. So there is a disadvantage. He may lose control. Now is second point. What else you can talk about? Okay, the cost of running. The cost of running let me think. The cost of running the business is more costly due to statutory requirement. That means you have to pay the auditor, you have to pay the tax agent, you have to get the professional account to do the account. That's all the cost due to the statutory requirement. So 2 mark basically should be enough to cover already. Okay. So the key for the loss is loss control, the disadvantage, and the cost of running is high, more costly. Okay, so there's a disadvantage. 2 point we given now. Make a conclusion. Okay, since they did the second sentence, they mentioned about the purpose he want to convert is that it's easier for her to obtain the finance for future expansion. So means that this point to get more fund, okay, is very helpful already. So you add one more sentence into advantage. Is easier for her to obtain finance for future expansion. So that is adding what they mentioned. Highlight again what they asked for. Okay, now let's continue. Conclusion. So what is the conclusion that we want to make? For me, personally, I will agree that he should convert into the limited company, because seldom for the manufacturing company, manufacturing business, for the manufacturing business, seldom they do the small business, because manufacturing you need to quite high cost to start up the business. So it will be more advisable convert into the limited company so that he can have more fun, he can have more money to run the business. I would suggest, because I would advise, or I would suggest, I would advise Chipo to convert the business into limited company, because she need a lot of fun to run manufacturing business. By converting into limited company, she can get outsider to contribute the fund into business. This will help the company future expansion. So this is the answer that I would like to share with you. So for the theory part, because now all the theory question is not straightforward. So you must cover all the area. Based on the question, they want an advantage, disadvantage. So answer back, I will try to use talking about limited company because their key thing is convert into limited company. So using back this is a point that trying to give you the hint how to answer the question. But come to the question, overall answer depends how you write it. Try to use the point, write complete sentence. And then don't forget the last sentence is your conclusion, whether you support or not support. So that is up to individual. See what is the angle that you look into it. Okay, this is for the question 3. Hi, this is the question paper for 2020, paper 21, May-June sitting. Okay, question number 4. Rani is a trader. Her financial year ends on 31st March. She provides the following information about her 3 types of inventory at 31st March 2020. A, number of unit, cost, selling price, and selling expenses. A, calculate the total value of the Rani inventory at 31st March 2020. First of all, when we want to calculate the valuation of inventory, what is the key thing that we must know? Lower of cost and net realizable value. So this is a key that we need to choose. Which one lower? Then we take the price to do the recording. Okay, what is meant by the cost? Cost is the purchase price and any and other costs incurred on the purchase of the goods. Whereas net realizable value is the estimate selling price less estimate expenses incurred for the sales. So there is a estimate because you didn't know whether how much you can sell it, but just mean estimate, not the actual. To calculate this one, based on this valuation, lower of cost and net realizable value. So we need to see the 3 items in here. Inventory item, A, B, and C. And number of unit, 110, 85, and 90. Okay, cost per unit. Okay, when we come to the cost per unit, here they don't have any other additional costs for the purchase of the goods. So cost per unit no, just put in down first. Later on we check 17, 18, and then 15. No additional cost. But come to the selling price and the selling expenses. This one actually is a net realizable value. We take the cost and we take the selling price, 20 minus $2. So we get 18. Whereas 19 minus 1, we get 18. And then another one, 16 minus 2, 14. So now we need to choose which one is lower. So lower, compare these two, 17 is lower. And then this one both same, so either one same, no effect. Whereas this one is a net realizable value is lower. So now we calculate the value of stock. So the value of inventory. Take the quantity times the unit price. Okay, add all this amount together. So we get the total of the inventory. Okay, 4,660. Okay, Rani later discovered that she has an amount of inventory of item D at 31st March 2020. This inventory originally cost 1,660. She considered this inventory to be obsolete. Okay. Now, let's see what is the question they asked. Explain to Rani how the value of inventory of item D affect the profit for the year ended 31st March 2020. Okay. If we're going to put using this information, okay, I just use this information first. Now, in this case, if we add in the D, okay, D, they say that original cost is 1,660. She considered this inventory to be obsolete. That means become zero value. So no cost of it. No net realizable value is 0. So in this case, we should choose the 0 to times the quantity. Therefore, you will get back the 0. So you notice that when you have add in the 0, your this value of the inventory still will not change. Okay, so here you can put that the net realizable value is 0. So therefore, total closing inventory remain same, 4,660. Okay, now next is that they will know there will be no effect on the profit. Okay, so this one I wanted to explain further a bit because I'm not really agree with the marking scheme. So this one, the impact is from the marking, the answer that I use is from the marking scheme, which is trying to explain to you that net realizable value is 0. So that's why value of inventory, closing inventory is no change. So therefore, the profit also won't be changed. But this is my personal point of view. If you really think about the double entry, when we beginning year, we have the inventory, which is valued at 1,660. Because they say that later discovered that she has amount of inventory of item D at this amount. And this item, which is cost, original cost is 6,660. Means that in actual, if based on my understanding is that they have the opening inventory for the inventory for the item, which is 1,660. If we use the accounting concept, income statement, which is we have the revenue less cost of sales Opening inventory, and then purchases, closing inventory. Okay. For my understanding is that when we have initially recorded 1,660, at the end of the year, there is no value for it. By right, is using the equation. Okay, we have the cost of sales 1,660, and this situation, it will talk about the gross profit. Take the revenue minus cost of sales. You notice that this is a negative. Negative means that this is a decrease on the gross profit. So by right, this answer, okay, yes, I agree that the closing inventory still remain the same. But come to the profit. The question is saying the profit. So let's assume that this one less expenses. Okay, less expenses and then profit. If we see the equation here, by right, this amount caused the decrease on the profit. So the last sentence, they say that there will be no effect on the profit, which is I'm not really agree. Based on the situation, the accounting concept here, the amount, okay, to me, remain the total closing inventory remain the same, 4660. But the effect, there will be effect on profit where reduced by 1660 due to opening inventory. So that should be the answer from my point of view compared to the marking scheme. Okay, now let's continue. Advise Rani whether or not she should stop purchased item D to avoid having obsolete inventory in the future. Justify your answer by providing advantage and disadvantage. So we just put in what is the advantage when we have the stop first. Advantage, okay, we give 2 points of it since that here is 5 marks. So what is the advantage that we have for the, when the she should stop. So we agree to stop. So stop purchase item D. So she has more money for others purpose. So this is one of it. And also, if she stop to buy the item D, she does not need to worry about obsolete stock for item D. Okay. Other than that, it will be good for her business because customer may have more choices. Sorry, this one is less choices. It's not the advantage. This is actually disadvantage already. Let me think what else that could be the answer. Okay, if she choose, she has more money for the other purpose. And then what else that we can think about? Okay, after we don't buy, then she can save storage cost due to less inventory to keep. Okay, that's a 3 point enough. 2 points should be enough already actually. Disadvantage. Okay. First one is about customer. Customer has have less choices. So less choices. So what will happen? They may go to other supplier to buy item A, B, C, and okay. Next is that. So she will lose a customer. So this one actually is lost customer. Okay. Lost customer. Due to customer go to other place to buy. Okay, other than that, okay, this one is the customer may need to make sure that the item, let's see how are you going to put it? Lost the customer has less choices. They may go to other supplier to buy item A, B, C, D. Then the new customer may not come to who, okay, let's see. The new customer who may want to buy item D may and who may want to buy item D will not come to Rani. This customer may buy other item other than item D. So there is you totally lost a new customer who interested to buy the item D at the first place. But because you didn't get chance to get them to come to your shop, then you got totally no chance. So now come to the conclusion or the recommendation. What you're going to make the recommendation. Okay. For this question, let's we see the item that we have. We have the 3 items. D cost 1,006. Okay. If you talk about the business, if you can attract for my personal point of view, if you can attract the new customer, give customer have more choices. Why don't you buy a little bit and keep into the shop so that you can let people see more choices. People feel happy to come. So for my personal opinion, I will say I will advise Rani to keep some item D. Okay, to keep some item D so that she can attract more customer to visit her shop due to more variety of the items sell in the shop. Okay, so there is the conclusion that I'm going to make. Okay, now let's move on to the next. Okay, Rani earned advertising income by placing advertising board in her shop window. The following detail relate to her advertising income. On 1st April 2019, Rani has received 420 in advance and 300 was owed to her. So that it means that in the beginning of the month, okay, let's move down a bit. Okay, beginning of the month or beginning of the year, the one is received in advance. This is an income, advertising income. That means it's an income account. When received in advance, is a liability. So we have to put into the credit side. Liability is in the credit side. So balance brought down. Okay, 420. Whereas another is owed to her, which is the asset 300. So debit side, credit side, both also have balance brought down beginning year. During the year end, 31st March 2020, Ronnie received check payment total 6,000. She decided to write off the amount of 300 owed to her. That means this amount becomes the irrecoverable debt. And this year end 2020, March 31st, she received check, means that debit bank, credit advertising income. So this one you must write bank because it's a check, 6,000. At the same time, she decided to write off this 300. Since that here is debit, when you write off must be in the credit. So this one you call irrecoverable debt. Okay, 300. On 31st 2020, Rani has received 5,000 in advance. Year end in advance is a balance carried out. So this is the end of the year. So end of the year. So this is balance carried out. Okay, take notes for it. So when end of the year, there is a balance carried out, received in advance, it will be sitting in here. Okay, but we cannot put it here. We leave one empty row. Why? Because this is an income account. You must have the income statement to write it in the debit side. So we drift this income statement first because we don't know how much of it. So here, balance carried out. So this balance carried out is this received in advance, is a liability. So this is a liability. And 400 was owed to her, which is the asset. End of the year asset balance carried out will be in the credit side. So this is the current asset. Okay, whereas this one is the current liability. Because this is a beginning year, this is the end of the year. So different, one is a balance brought down, one is a balance carried out. So now we calculate the subtotal. Okay, take the credit minus the debit amount. So we get 6,320. This is the amount, it's a balancing figure that you need to transfer to the income statement. And don't forget, always in the exam, balance carried out, balance brought down, always must be the one pair. One pair means that one debit side, one must be credit side. Okay, another is this one, also complete it. Now let's move on, see what else the question they ask. Okay, explain to Rani the effect on gross profit of recording sales of inventory as advertising income. So when the sales, okay, let's see, I prepared a simple income statement just to show you the section, revenue, okay, less cost of sales, and then we get gross profit, and then we plus other income, and then we less expenses, and then we get the profit for the year. So now, based on this information, they say that explain to Rani the effect on gross profit of recording sales of inventory. The sales of inventory by right, this one, sales of inventory should be under the revenue section. Okay, this should be the revenue section, but we go and put into the other income. Okay, record wrongly as advertising income. So what happened to this amount when you recorded into here? So this one, revenue section will be understated. So when revenue understated, gross profit also understated. Okay, there is the impact on the gross profit side. Okay, so this is the impact gross profit because why is understated? Because advertising income is under other income section. Okay, so there is the reason that you can put in for the number E section. Okay, so this is for the question number 4. Question number 5 for the paper 21, May-June 2020. Okay. MPT Limited prepare its financial statement to 30th April each year. The company retained earnings at 1st May 2019 were 14,000. The general reserve was 35,000. During the year end, 30th April 2020, the following took place. The company made a profit for the year of 28,000 after charging debenture interest. A transfer of 5,000 was made to the general reserve. A dividend of 4,500 was paid. No other dividend were payable for the year. Okay, next. MPT Limited provide the following. So this is the asset, liability, asset. This one is under the trade receivable. It's considered asset section. This one is non-current liability. This one is the equity section. So now the question saying that calculate the retained earning. Okay, if we use the T account, I'm using the T account first. Retained earning date, detail, and dollar sign. Okay. Beginning of the year 2019. Okay, there is amount of balance brought down in the credit side because this is an equity section. Okay, retained earning is under equity section. So this during the year the transaction took place, the company made profit for the year of 28,000 after charging debenture interest. That means on this year 2020 April 30th, this is a profit for the year that they earn. Okay, and the amount is after charge, I mean it's a final already. Okay, the next one. During the year, a transfer of 5,000 was made to the, okay, the key word in here is they say that to the general reserve. Okay, so in this case, retained earning had to be debited. Okay, to the general reserve. Okay, 5,000. Now what I need you to take note is that in case the question change it to a transfer of 5,000 was made from. If the word change it to the from the general reserve, you will have the general reserve amount in this credit side. So take notes that in your exam, whether the question saying that to or from. Okay, now let's continue. A dividend of 4,500 was paid. Dividend paid is in the debit side because it reduces your amount in the retained earning. But only take notes that only the amount paid you will record in the debit side. If it was just a propose, don't put into it. Okay, here dividend paid. Dividend paid. Okay, so next is 4,500. Okay, now next is that there's anything else? The question, okay, no more. So we can start to calculate the balance carried out. So let's calculate the balance carried out. Okay, so credit side more than the debit, that means our balance carried out will be in the debit side. So take the credit minus. So 32,500. So 2020, May 1st, balance brought down. Okay, so this is the amount that we have. Okay, for this question, they say calculate. Since this is a T account, if you want to use the calculation method, so what you can do is, now I'm showing you the calculation method. So you have to write the information they're given in here. They say that retain earning at 30th April 2020. Okay, start with the balance brought down first. So you can say that balance at 1st May 2019. Okay, the amount is 14,000. Okay, now during the year, what is you're going to add? You're going to add the profit for the year because increase your retained earning, 28,000. So you add these two first. After that, let's transfer to general reserve. Okay, not enough space. I need to add a little bit. Okay, put how much the transfer? 5,000. Okay, and then during the year, there is a payment for the dividend. Dividend, okay, which is 4,500. So add these two amounts. So basically, this is a more to a calculation method. So calculation method, normally we will start with the amount, which is the add first. After that, we less. So that is how we prepare the calculation method. Start with the add, after that, less. So now here we put balance at 30th April 2020. So that is how we calculate retained earning. Calculation method, which is a segment method. Ledger method, which is T account method. So let's continue. Okay. They asked to prepare the statement of financial position. They give us a 3 column. See what are the items we have first. We put in the section non-current asset. This is the first section we normally have. And then current asset. And then after that, because this is a company, we put equity and liability because the company account. So with the equity section, after that, non-current liability, and then last is a current liability. So all the section we put in, now we go and see what are the items that we have here. Okay, we go, let's check. Okay, I bring down this far into there so that easier for me to do. Okay. So this one, move it to here first. Okay, give me a minute. Okay. So this is all the information that we have. Okay, let's see what are the non-current assets that we have. Okay. Since they've given us the book value only. So in this case, actually, we don't really need 3 columns. So feature and equipment, because it's this one, they don't have the provision. So basically, no need, not really need 3 columns. Feature and equipment, motor vehicle. Okay, so put in the amount 152,000, and then motor vehicle 60,400. So add these two amounts. Okay, so we put in the subtotal because no other asset already. So this is the extra. We just take it out. Okay, current asset. Let's see what are the current asset. Inventory, trade receivable, and don't forget this one, provision also had to part of it. So here we put inventory, and then after that trade receivable. This is like a formula, so you must remember. And your trade receivable must minus the provision for doubtful debt. They are always together. This is the one pair. Okay, this is always one pair together. So inventory. Okay, here inventory is 30,330. Okay, now we can use the first column because we want to show the net amount. So trade receivables, as I said before, in case that is too many lines, you feel confused, you better draw the line in between so that you can see the number more clearly. Okay, trade receivable amount is 31,500. Provision for doubtful debt 630. Okay, now take the net amount, put into the second column. Okay, and then add these two together. So you get the subtotal, total asset. So this is our total asset. Accounting equation concept, asset equal capital plus the liability. Okay, now equity. Equity, we have the ordinary share. Ordinary share capital. So this is one of the items. Other than that, retain earning. Other than that, general reserve. So this is something that you need to memorize. What is the section under the equity section? Now, capital, 150,000. And retain earning, if we get this one wrong, then automatically we won't be able to balance the account. Okay, general reserve. Okay, general reserve beginning of the year. They had the balance 35,000. So this is the beginning of the year, general reserve. And during the year, there is a transfer of 5,000. So basically, this one is total 40,000. So you can show your working beside here. 35,000 plus 5,000. So total general reserve is 40,000. Try to show your working how you get the number beside your detail. Okay, now we have done the equity section. The next one, non-current liability. Okay, non-current liability, which is the liability we need to pay after a year. So here, this one, 5% debenture repayable. So this is more than, from the year, you know that this one, repayable in 2025. Compared to your financial year you prepare, this is more than 1 year. So this is the non-current liability. So you put 5% debenture. Okay, I noticed sometime the student will put in, calculate the percentage and put into here. This one is just to indicate to you that the interest charge on debenture is 5%. But your non-current liability, you must take the principal amount, 20,000. So don't forget it. This is a common mistake happen. Okay, don't go and take calculator to times 5%. Take notes. This is not take principal amount. Okay, now next, current liability. Current liability is bank overdraft. Bank overdraft. And then trade payable. Okay, so these two items. So bank overdraft, let's see one more time, the line. Just make sure that the item is correct. Okay, bank overdraft is 6,200. So 6,200. And trade payable is 24,900. So we add the total, see whether we can get it balanced. If get balanced, that means our account should be fine. Okay, so the amount are the same. Same to the total asset, means that our account should be no problem. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, let's see what else the question they ask. Okay, now we put it back the file first. Okay. Okay, now let's continue the next ones. Okay, the director of MPT Limited are considering using general reserve to repay the bank overdraft. State why it is not appropriate to use the general reserve to repay the bank overdraft. Okay. Sometimes, while our income statement, the profit for the year in the income statement is not equal to cash in bank. Why? Because in the income statement, they include the cash item, cash payment item, and also non-cash payment item, such as, for example, the common is a depreciation, which is we do depreciation because the accounting requirement. So that's why if we transfer the general reserve is transferred from income, from the retained earning. So means that it will have the same problem. The balance in general reserve is not equal or same to cash balance. So that is the reason that it's not suitable to use it to pay the bank overdraft, because it may not be the money, the actual money that you have. Okay, let's continue. D, calculate the return on the capital employed for the year 2020, April 30th. And then the calculation should be correct to 2 decimal and should be based on the closing capital employed. Closing capital employed means that they want us to take these two amounts as a calculation. Okay, let's see. Formula first, ROCE. ROCE, the formula is profit before interest. Okay, and then divide equity plus non-current liability. Okay. And then times the 100%. So now we based on the formula that we have. Profit before interest. The question on top given to us, they say that the company made profit for the year of 28,000 after charging the debenture interest. This indicate to us this is after debenture interest. We have to change before interest. So how are we going to calculate? We take 28,000 plus how much the interest, debenture interest. The debenture interest is here. 5% debenture, 20,000. So we have to plus back plus 20,000 times 5%. Okay. Then after that, divide by the equity. How much the equity? They say want to use a closing balance. So this amount, 222,500 plus 20,000. Okay, so there is the amount that we have. So we take after that times 100%. So this is the working we should get. Now use the calculator. Let's see what is the amount that we have. So I calculate first 28,000 plus 20,000 times 5%. So we get 29,000. So this one is 29,000 divide. Okay. For the equity this non-current as liability plus equity. Okay, plus 20,000. So we get 2425. So here 242500. And then times 100%. So now continue. 2,000. Okay, let me count on here. 2900 divide 242500 and then times 100%. So we get 11 point. Okay, the question say 2 decimal place. So we have to see 111.96. We have to round up to 2 decimal. So this is the answer that we get. Okay, now let's move on. See what else the question they ask. Okay, the question they say that the director are considering increase the dividend in 2021 as a way of increasing the return on capital employed. Advise the director how the return on capital employed can be increased. Justify your answer by comment both profit and the capital employed. So here, the question, the reason is they want to increase the return on ROCE because they are thinking to increase the dividend in the next year. Okay. Now, advise director how the return can be increased. First of all, think about this statement first. Number one, how can ROCE increase? This is what we want to answer first. Okay. How we want to increase based on the formula? We see the formula first. Profit before interest divided by capital. Okay, and then times 100%. So if we're using the mathematical concept to do the calculation, okay, let me put it somewhere here. This is a profit, okay, and then this is the capital employed. Okay, this capital employed is equal to equity plus non-current liability. If we want to make this ROCE increase, we must make the profit increase. Okay, that is one of the way. Then this ROCE will increase. Or another way is that reduce this one, capital employed, ROCE will increase. And this reduction actually is talking about the use of the capital employed, use the resources, use the business resources more efficient. Means that we use the lesser money spent on it to get maximize use of the asset in the company or the liability. That is called use resources more efficient. You can reduce the capital employed. So there is a two-way that can cause the ROCE increase. So now we write down the answer for it here. Increase. Let me put in the sentence. By increasing profit for the year, and by increasing the profit for the year, ROCE can increase. Other than that, the company also can increase and decrease the capital employed by using resources more efficient, which is that $1 can earn a lot of money. That is called efficient. Okay, now next, not yet finished the question. The total mark they allocate is 5 marks. So now next is that justify your answer by comment both profit and capital employed. So these two, we already comment on it. Okay, how we want to increase how we say that profit can increase, how we want to increase the profit. So now B, how to increase profit. So this is a question that we have to ask ourselves. Okay, you can say that the company or the director can plan more sales activity to promote the product, so that the profit can increase. Other than that, what the director can do, they also can, they should also control expenses so that profit can increase when expenses decrease. So that is about the increase in the profit. Okay, now next okay, number C, the third point that we should talk. We already talked how to increase, then now we need to talk about how to reduce the capital employed. So how to reduce capital, how to reduce the capital employed. Okay, if you see the component of the capital employed, this one, equity. Equity got three in this question. Ordinary share, general reserve, retained earning. So if we want to increase the dividend, one of the way is we can use this one and this one to pay the dividend. Okay, so use this one to pay the dividend, then we can reduce this equity, reduce this capital employed, and then ROCE will increase. So now we put in by paying dividend to general reserve or retained earning, the equity will decrease. Okay. Therefore, the director can consider increasing dividend in 2021 as a way of increasing return on capital employed. Okay, so this one, let me add some more point for it. Okay, by paying dividend through general reserve or retained earning, the equity will decrease. Okay, and capital employed will decrease. So next sentence, therefore the director can consider increase dividend in 2021 as a way of increasing the capital as a way of capital return on return on capital employed, which is ROCE. So this is the answer we can use. Now let's move on. This question they say advise the director how return on capital employed can be increased. So there we say these two can cause the increase, where the ROC can increase, profit increase. When profit increase, by increasing the profit. And then another way is that decrease the capital employed. So these two ways will help to increase the ROC. Next is that we have to answer how to increase the profit. Then next, how to reduce the capital employed. Okay, now here is that your answer by commenting by both profit. So here when we saw that the profit can be increased. Okay, so this one is the sales activity, the profit will increase. And then, okay, so this is the idea that we can put in how to increase the profit, how to reduce the capital employed. Okay, let's see, still got any more? Okay, that's all for the question 5. Okay,